Good morning. I'm pleased to welcome you to this video. If the lesson is useful to you, you can subscribe the channel for more teaching videos. I'm Yogarajah Atchuthan. The presentation topic is Handling Primary Textbooks, Part 2. Outline: Introduction to National Goals of Education, Introduction to Competencies, Introduction to Objectives, Introduction to Performance Standards, Proficiency level and competency level. National Goals of Education. National Goals of Education denotes the general principles and statements which indicates the objectives a country intends to achieve through education. National Education Commission, which has been established under an Act of Parliament, has developed 8 national goals and a set of competencies in this regards. Education objectives. Educational objectives refer to the statements that describe the achievement level of a learner as a result of his active involvement in the course or in the prescribed activities. These objectives should be observable and measurable. In addition, they are simple, brief, attainable, relevant, and time-framed. These educational objectives provide guidelines on how knowledge, skills, and attitudes of the learners are to be achieved through the particular subject contents. Teachers have lesson objectives for each session, which indicates what the students will attain at the end of each lesson. The successful achievements of lesson objectives lead to achieve the expected competency level and national goals of education at the broader level. Teachers sometimes identify the objectives into general objectives, specific objectives, and secondary objectives according to their lesson requirements. In order to deliver the lesson successfully, the teacher should be well aware about the lesson objectives so that they can plan their lessons accordingly. Learning outcomes. Learning outcome refers to the statements of students' achievements at the end of a course or particular class. Lesson objectives are used to achieve the overall learning outcomes. Therefore, they are interconnected in relation with their purposes. Objectives and statements of learning outcomes help a teacher to direct her class towards a right destination. They allow them to decide the required input to be given for students' learning. Content standards and performance standards. Standards in education are realized in many ways. Content standards denote the specific content area. In other words, what students should learn. That should be studied by a particular group of students in a level. Performance standards refer to the threshold requirements and expectation for instruction, assessments, and students' work. They indicate how well students should learn the prescribed contents in the subjects. Can-do statements. Can-do statements describe the particular language task which are expected to be performed by the learners at each proficiency level. Can-do statements function as learning objectives since they share clarity, easiness, and achievable nature of their contents. Competency and proficiency. A competency denotes a skill, range of knowledge, ability, or behavioral characteristics linked with high performance of the learners. Proficiency levels are descriptions of the language related abilities of the individuals on listening, speaking, reading, and writing in real-life situations. A competency Therefore, competencies help to establish proficiency level of an individual. Competency level in textbooks. English textbooks published by the Education Publication Department in Sri Lanka mention the competency levels which are to be covered in each grade at the beginning pages of the textbooks. The competency levels are achieved through the prescribed guided activities in the book. A teacher should be aware of these concepts in order to conduct his or her lessons effectively. Divisions of education. There are two major divisions of school education in Sri Lanka. They are primary education and the secondary education. Primary education covers grades from 1 to 5 for the first 5 years. Secondary education extends for 8 years from grade 6 to 13. Primary education. Primary stage of education is further divided into 3 key stages. They are key stage 1, key stage 2, and key stage 3. Grade 1 and 2 come under key stage 1, in which guided play is treated as the main learning mode, while the secondary importance is given for the active learning. Desk work is given less importance at this stage. There are 4 main subjects in the curriculum. They are language, mathematics, environment-related studies, and religion. At this stage, activity-based oral English is introduced with the purpose of providing a familiar exposure for the learners into English language context before English is introduced as a second language in grade 3 for them. Grade 3 and 4 come under key stage 2, in which equal importance is given to all 3 modes of learning: play, activity-based learning, and desk work. Grade 5 falls under the key stage 3, in which an emphasis given on desk work as the students are prepared for their beginning of the secondary education. Active learning and the play are used as supplementary modes of learning at this stage. An English teacher should be aware of these arrangements in the school so that he or she can design his or her language teaching activities accordingly. Failure to understand these concepts lead to a failure to achieve the intended learning outcomes in the immediate as well as in the later stages of students' education. As far as English language teaching in primary stage is concerned, learners are exposed to familiar sounds, words, phrases, and sentences initially, which can be used in the day-to-day life circumstances of the learners. Child-centered and the activity-based learning are emphasized in all the stages. Less importance is given for examination and its structure. Therefore, the teacher should consider children's desires and their preferences for a successful teaching and learning process in the classroom. Secondary education. Secondary stage of education is divided into 3. They are junior secondary level, grade 6 to 9, senior secondary level leading to GCE ordinary level, and senior secondary level leading to GCE advanced level. Curriculum at each level has been designed to meet the national goals of education at the broader level. Teacher's Guide. Teacher's guides have been prepared for all the subjects. As far as Teacher's Guide for English language is concerned, lesson objectives, skills performance standards, content standards, learning outcomes, possible teaching and learning aids, time duration for each lesson, and assessment criteria have been clearly mentioned in a systematic manner. English textbooks. The skills such as listening, speaking, reading, writing, vocabulary, and grammar are enhanced through textbooks. The textbooks are designed to enhance those skills of the learners, in a meaningful ways. However, as far as the national examinations are concerned, only reading, writing, vocabulary, and grammar are evaluated. Though the listening and speaking skills of the students are assessed in the classroom using different criteria, the enhancement of these skills have been challenging in many contexts, according to many research reports. Textbook introduce language skill related new topics considering physical, social, as well as psychological factors of the learners. And the newly introduced topics are reinforced in the textbooks through various ways, including language games and exercises presented in a hierarchy order of difficulties. These are the references for the presentation. Thank you.